Historical video games tend to focus on some sort of grand war. RIOT's Civil Unrest is a bit different. Instead, it tells the story of several non-fictional protests from this decade, such as the No TAV protests in Italy and Arab Spring in Egypt. RIOT's creator, Leonard Menciari, has created the game to tell the stories and express the feelings experienced during these clashes. This definitely comes across in the expressiveness of the characters in the cutscenes. The pixel art style isn't well defined, causing all of the rioters and police officers to look the same, but that lends itself to the game's message. It's not trying to represent any central figures, but humanity as a whole. It's easy to feel the sense of despair that these pixelated characters emote through their simple animations, and at the same time, the fact that they're pretty much faceless shows how conflict can dehumanize people. With that being said, unlike most real-time strategy games, the goal of Riot isn't to kill your opponent or even attack them. Becoming violent against the opposition will just cause them to become violent in turn, so the player is rewarded for playing pacifistically. You can choose to play any of the protests from either the perspective of the rioters or the police, and both of them have slightly different styles of play. Rioters have more improvised weapons such as firecrackers and rocks, whereas the police can use actual armaments such as smoke grenades and batons. It's a nice attempt to add in some variety, but despite the differences, they end up playing fairly similarly anyway. And unfortunately, neither side is much fun to play as the core gameplay just isn't very good. The objectives of the mission might say displacement, occupy, lead crowd, direct clash or something else, but there are really only two things that you'll ever have to do during a mission. That is to push the enemy back or hold your ground. Pushing the enemy back either took so little time that setting up the mission didn't even seem worth it, or it was a 5-minute romp of mashing right click hoping to win. For missions that required me to hold my ground, I often found myself spending 20 seconds setting up and then 5 minutes doing literally nothing until victory. On top of this, since the game rewards the player for playing in a non-violent manner, I never felt a reason to use any of the weapons or extra tools, as it would put me at a disadvantage. It really felt like there was only one way to win, and for a strategy game, that's very disappointing. RIOT's Civil Unrest is an interesting game, and I applaud the team at Ivy Productions for creating a game with an untapped, non-fictional setting that does a good job of educating people of these current political issues. But when it comes to a video game, it has to be fun, and RIOT just isn't.